Have you ever found yourself stuck trying to loop through a list in JavaScript, only to hit a wall? It can be really frustrating, right? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into how to properly use the forEach loop on list items in JavaScript. I totally get it. You have your HTML list set up, and you're ready to grab those IDs, but something just isn't clicking. You're not alone in this struggle. Many developers face similar issues when working with loops and lists. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, "Why isn't my JavaScript loop working to grab the IDs of my list items?" They shared their HTML structure and their JavaScript code, but it just wasn't functioning as expected. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So, what could be going wrong? The issue often lies in how we're trying to access the elements and how we're using the loop. We'll break it down step by step so you can understand what's happening. And don't go anywhere. I've got a crucial tip at the end that will help you avoid these pitfalls in the future. To begin solving the user's issue, we need to correctly access the list items in the HTML. The user has already selected the items using the class name item. Now let's ensure we are accessing the correct properties. Next, the user should loop through the items correctly. In the current code, there's a small mistake in referencing the items. Instead of item I, it should be items. Now let's add a condition inside the loop to check if the ID of each item matches the string stored in my variable. This will help the user identify the matching item. Finally, the user should ensure that the variable my variable is defined correctly. It should be a string that matches one of the IDs in the list items. Fun fact, did you know that the forEach method was introduced in ECMAScript 5? It has since become a favorite among developers for its simplicity and readability. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests using ES6 features. They recommend transforming the DOM collection of list items into an array and then mapping over it to extract the IDs. This approach is concise and efficient. For those using ES5, the user offers a different method. They suggest initializing an empty array and using a for loop to push each item's ID into this array. This method is compatible with older browsers. Now let's see a response from a different user. An alternative approach suggested by another user is to use the map function. This method allows you to convert the list of items into an array-like object and extract the ID properties from each list item. Let's take a look at another answer from another user. An alternative approach suggests using query selector all to grab all list items. This method returns an iterable array of HTML nodes, making it easier to work with. The user recommends checking each item's inner text against a specified search string. Let's take a look at an answer from another user. An alternative solution suggests adding an ID to the unordered list element. By doing this, you can easily access the list items using the children property. The user provides a simple loop that alerts the inner text of each child element. Let's take a moment to review another user's answer. An alternative approach shared by another user suggests using the query selector all method to select list items. This method allows you to use forEach to iterate over the items without needing a traditional loop. If you also need the index of each item, you can modify the forEach function to include an index parameter. This way, you can access both the item and its index easily. It's important to note that forEach cannot be used with getElementsByClassName. It only works with query selector all, making it a more versatile option for this task. Here's the crucial tip I promised. Always double-check your variable names and ensure you're using the correct syntax. This can save you a lot of time and headaches. And there you have it. With these adjustments, your JavaScript should now be able to loop through your list items and grab those IDs without a hitch. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button for more tips. And don't miss our next video where we tackle more JavaScript challenges.